Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir, pushing to 3,000 subscribers. So if you guys do enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So we are 2 days away from the NBA trade deadline, 3 days total if you count today. And Jimmy Butler still on the Miami Heat. He only wants to go to the Phoenix Suns. He's been shooting down basically every team that has been reported to show interest. Anytime a team has had a conversation with the Miami Heat or maybe even put together an offer, Jimmy Butler has said, I would not extend with that team, or I don't want to play with that team. Memphis Grizzlies, he has mentioned he wants to go anywhere but there, but that's not true. It seems like he wants to go nowhere but the Suns. So there was a report that came out a couple days ago that said the Warriors and Suns are the top two destinations for Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, his camp came out basically saying that he would not sign an extension with the Warriors. And Brian Windhorst reported this, and basically the next day, folks were saying that Brian Windhorst said trade talks have stalled for now. And so they emphasized the word for now, saying that the Warriors believe that they're actually still in the mix for Jimmy Butler, but they just have ended conversations so far. And I think the longer the Warriors actually wait for this Jimmy Butler debacle to unfold, without him going to the Phoenix Suns, that is, the more leverage they can have, because the Miami Heat might become even more desperate to just get him off the books. The Miami Heat have no due diligence to get Jimmy Butler to the Suns at this point. Yes, maybe 3 weeks ago they could have done that, but he has burned every bridge. He's been suspended 3 times. He is sabotaging any package the Miami Heat could put together or get together with multiple teams to get Jimmy Butler to the Suns or another destination. But Jimmy's tarnishing his value because teams don't want to pay a lot for a rental, knowing that he will not extend anywhere but the Phoenix Suns, which is fine because it seems like no other team is willing to extend him as of right now or yet, except for the Phoenix Suns. So that's totally fine. But it's just been rough dealing with Jimmy Butler, and there's no reason for them to send him to the Suns. They should send him to anywhere they can get the best package from. And the Miami Heat have reported that they're still going to be stingy to a certain degree. And if they don't get a package that they like, essentially, so they don't want long-term contracts right now at this point. They want draft capital, expiring contracts, maybe a young player, perhaps. But if they don't get what they like, they're going to hold on to Jimmy Butler and deal with this in the summer, in the offseason, and figure out if Jimmy Butler is going to opt in or not and have to deal with this all season long. I think that's going to be detrimental to this team. The Heat are, like, I think they're one game out of the 5th spot. Like, if they beat the Bulls tonight, then they would be the 5th seed. And Jimmy Butler's played like 20 out of 40 something games this season. He's missed more than half the season. And they've dealt with the Jimmy Butler trade drama and request for the past 3-4 weeks. Stayed afloat because of Tyler Hero. Bam Adebayo's hopefully turning a corner, and he's been playing a lot better. Kel'el Ware has finally been in the rotation. He's been a breath of fresh air. So with all this distraction, the Heat are still in competition to get out of the play-in. Like, they're technically out of the play-in if the season ended today, but they needed to get to that 4 or 5 seed and avoid the play-in and find a route where they can not play the Knicks or the Celtics early on, which would be huge for them, especially if they can trade Jimmy Butler and add some pieces to this roster that do make sense, like a Wiggins from the Warriors or a Kuminga or even a Marcus Smart and Brandon Clark and Luke Kennard. Like, none of these packages are what I would like for Jimmy Butler, but that's the reality. We're not going to get a fair equal trade for Jimmy Butler. It's going to be pennies, on the dollar. But this team is doing okay for what they've been dealing with, which is crazy. But one thing I want to talk about, though, real quick, also relating to the Warriors showing interest in them saying they firmly believe they're not out. So Vince Goodwill on his podcast for Yahoo Sports said, I've been told that Stephen Curry has been actively recruiting Jimmy Butler since the summer. So that is a new wrinkle because we've seen the back and forth with Steve Kerr and Steph basically saying they're not sure about Jimmy's personality. They've also said, or Steph and Draymond have said, I don't know if we want to ruin the future of the Golden State Warriors, basically by making a trade which will hurt our future prospects. So there's been like back and forth reports, literally contradicting, the Warriors showing interest, not showing interest um, in Jimmy Butler, or even making a significant trade in general to change the trajectory of their season to focus on helping Steph Curry win in his final 2 years or so of his prime. Like, he's still in his prime. They still have a chance to win a championship. I mean, even though the West is insanely hard now, Steph Curry is still one of the better players in the NBA, in my opinion. So let's play the clip, though, from Vince so you can hear it from himself, talking about how Steph was trying to recruit Jimmy Butler and maybe still is.
I've been hearing different iterations of a Jimmy Butler trade for the past week. I can't write them all. I can't tell you all of them because it's too many to name. But one that was gaining traction and momentum was Jimmy Butler going to the Golden State Warriors. And some level of deal, I believe that was either involving Kuminga or Wiggins or both, probably one and some picks. But then it comes out yesterday that Jimmy Butler, who I believe has been having probably some backdoor conversations with some folks, said that he didn't want to re-up with the Golden State Warriors with the same level of extension that he would probably sign with the Phoenix Suns if that's where he winds up. I've been told, Marcus, that Stephen Curry has been actively recruiting Jimmy Butler since the summer, since the discontent has been made known to people. And now for you to almost get to the altar and for Jimmy to say, man, I don't want to sign an extension here. Man, what's the problem here?
Exactly. What the hell is the problem here? Jimmy is sabotaging this shit. It's crazy. Contenders want him. Like, his fit on Memphis would be huge. Like, they can deal with the extension later. Other teams, I guess, have reportedly said that they would extend him. I think the Warriors said they might even be willing to extend him. And that would be a good fit, playing along Steph Curry and Draymond Green, playing with a world-class organization and a really good coach in Steve Kerr. He says no. Literally, Jimmy Butler initially said, I want to play anywhere but Miami. Then it was anywhere but Memphis. Now, again, like I said earlier, he's rejecting any team besides the Phoenix Suns. He's doing everything in his power, which I don't understand how this is not tampering. Like, if the Miami Heat are going to get a player, then the league is going to step in. But if the Miami Heat are going to lose a player, their star player, they don't give a shit. Like, Damian Lillard and his agent said Miami only. Jimmy is basically saying Phoenix only. And why is the NBA not stepping in and talking to Jimmy Butler's camp saying, like, you can't say this, you can't sabotage deals, you can't, like, bring down your value, you can't say one team. Damian Lillard got a memo because he said he wanted to go to the Miami Heat. Like, it just doesn't make sense how players can't say they want to come to the Heat, but other players can say they want to go to other teams and not get penalized for it. Like, it makes no sense. So yeah, there's other reports that Jimmy Butler has blocked multiple trades that would have landed him on contending teams. Also, he's blocked trade options that were good fits that could have potentially given him an extension and are also contenders. So Jimmy is just sabotaging this shit, and it's annoying as hell that he's doing this right now. We'll see what happens. There's only a couple days left. So, I mean, we're going to get some sort of closure or not, I guess. But we'll get closure in the sense of, did Jimmy get traded or did he not get traded? And if he doesn't get traded, this is going to be one hell of a season for the Miami Heat. It's going to be very interesting. So anyway, that's all I have for this episode. Thanks for watching. I'll be creating a ton of videos, obviously, during this trade deadline. We'll have more guests as well for you to throughout the day. So thanks again.